All right, good evening. I'd like to call this regularly scheduled Chandler Town Council meeting to order with the roll call, please.
Cheryl Amos, Kim Burnett,
Here.
Sandy Elder,
Here.
Tanya Wester,
Here.
Ron Willage.
Here.
Okay, if you all please stand, remove your hats for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Your neighbor's here.
Okay, in front of us this evening, we have the August 7th meeting minutes. Any questions, concerns, or changes to be made?
I didn't see any.
I didn't see any.
Okay, if there are not any, I'd like to entertain motions to accept the meeting minutes as presented.
So
Aye.
moved.
Go ahead, Steve.
Second.
Kim,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Tanya,
Yes,
Ron.
Yes.
meeting minutes will pass as presented. Okay, then at this time, I'd like to suspend the regular meeting for the public hearing for the nuisance abatement for the Fuquay property with Jed Hudson.
Okay, I guess as an initial matter, just so I know, is Mr. Hudson here today? I don't see him in the audience anywhere. Okay, well, let's make sure the record reflects he did not show up and is not here, but we'll go ahead and address the issues. On July 18th, the town served official notice by way of the Chief of Police, Kirk Tavault, who's here tonight, that he found a nuisance to exist on Mr. Hudson's property. I believe that property is at an address commonly known as 364 Fuquay Road, which is actually owned by Albert and Joe Hudson, according to the county, but at least is maintained and overseen and managed by Jed. Jed's address, the owner address, is actually Jed's address, so this notice was sent to the address, the owner of record, which is 6211 Oak Grove Road in Newburgh, Indiana, and the town has been in communication with Mr. Hudson throughout this. In fact, after that notice was sent on July 18th, Mr. Hudson responded in a letter dated July 28th that he requested a hearing regarding the order to abate nuisance, and also requested pertinent ordinances and written matters related to it. I responded to Mr. Hudson. I provided him with images of the nuisance at his property as well as a link to the town code. So I want to quickly note here just the town code that applies, and then I'd like the Chief of Police to come up and put these pictures in the record for all of us. The first thing that applies is Chandler Municipal Code, Chapter 94, Section 04. That addresses nuisances in town. It says that you are not allowed to maintain, use, place, depose, leave, or permit the following items. Among them are noxious weeds and other rank vegetation. We have a definition then, if you go over to Chapter 95, of rank vegetation and weeds, and that includes any growth of vegetation other than trees, woody shrubs, ornamental plants, or plants cultivated in an orderly manner for the purpose of producing food, trees, bushes, or woody shrubs which have sprouted as volunteers and are not maintained and or are growing along fence lines or public rights-of-way and are not maintained shall be considered weeds. So we have actually two chapters that address this that prevent that. Then the notice that was provided, Mr. Hudson provides the various penalties and fines that can apply. So he was made notice of this, of all of this, was made aware of this, and this is in addition to, I know, various communications that took place with Mr. Hudson. He obviously sent a letter back acknowledging this and requesting the public hearing, which is why we're here today. Chief Tavault, and by the way, I've known you for several years, and it just occurs to me I'm probably mispronouncing your last name because I just always call you Kirk. T-Vault's fine. Okay, so I feel terrible. I just call you Kirk or Chief Kirk. So let's just. I don't want to spend too much. I don't want to waste too much time, given that it seems like Mr. Hudson here isn't want to contend with this. But let's start here. You've provided all of the council members with two pictures here that, at least in my copy, says taken 8/4/23. These are images that you took of the property in question, and those were taken on August 4th. Yes. And you took those because you had felt like these weeds had been there for quite some time. Is that accurate? And you had neighbor complaints as well? Okay, so this was in August. But I assume, though, as my understanding, you had seen this and documented this prior to July 18th, the date that you sent the notice as well, correct? Okay, then you also provided the town council with a packet of more extensive pictures that were taken today. Is that correct? And it looks like the weeds are still there, have actually grown up and gotten worse. Is that accurate? Okay, so that is the history as I know it, the applicable ordinance, and so I'll leave it to you council members to discuss what it is you want to do. Obviously, you have the option of doing nothing, or finding that a nuisance does exist, ordering him to comply, and assessing penalties to the extent this isn't corrected.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't, I always forget which way is on. It's up against a residence.
Right.
It cannot be like this. It's not fair to the resident for it to be like this. It's not fair for those that mow their grass. So in my opinion, this is a nuisance.
I agree.
I mean, I realize there's probably a ditch that runs in between it somewhere. And on the one side, is there anything next to it, or is it kind of, it's the recycling center. So it's a nuisance.
Okay, well, I expected Mr. Hudson to be here, say quite a lot. Clearly that hasn't happened, so he's had the opportunity, let the record reflect obviously, that he had the opportunity to come here and speak, present his case. Again, he was clearly aware of it because of the letter we received and the response we sent. So with that, I'd say it's up to you guys to take a vote and we can move
Okay.
on.
Entertain motions to proceed with, what was the property address again exactly?
It's commonly. Yeah. Right.
44 South Fuquay.
364 is what.
Okay, 364 South Fuquay as a nuisance and in need of coming up to code.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Kim,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Tanya,
Yes.
Ron.
Yes.
Okay, I will send a letter to Mr. Hudson about this and instructing him of the penalties not to get it in compliance.
All right. And if this, did we still need people from, we voted on it, but do we still need people since it's a public hearing? So technically,
You can, I think it's mainly him,
okay.
but if you want to let.
Technically, if there's anyone else that wants to speak on this, they can. I mean, we've already voted, but since it's a public hearing, and he didn't show up, I forgot to ask if anyone else would like to speak up on this property. They're more than welcome to at this time. Yes, you'll need to come and state your name. It's across the street from the Culligan Water.
Oh, before you get to the
Mm-hmm.
county waste,
Yeah, between, yes.
it's empty a lot, right?
Yes, part of it.
Yeah, I know where it's.
Okay.
All grown up. That's all I wanted to know.
All right. All right, thank you. Okay, then if there's no one else at this point in time, I'm going to suspend the hearing and move on, and we'll move to the comments from citizens on the agenda, and we have Brittany Daughtery with the community garden here.
last meeting, I had requested two things. A fence around the 25 by 50 plot that we currently have, and land expansion. As far as the land expansion, I would like to revisit that another date. Put that on the back burner for now. I want to really focus on the 25 by 50 foot plot. Everything the council has requested, we have complied, and we really want to keep this garden going. We want to put a winter crop in, like I mentioned at the last meeting, and then spring. So right now, we just want to have the 25 by 50 foot plot that we currently have and use the welded wire fencing that we have. I have the $30 for the application fee for the fence. Of course, you guys have to approve it. It's city property.
So is it the same material going back up?
No.
Okay.
No, this is the T-post that is holding up the cattle fencing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Panel. It would be those T-posts, so they'd only go into about a foot
and a half.
And with the 4-foot welded wire fencing. So it can be pulled out of the ground. It can be pulled out of the ground if needed. It can be taken down easy, and it won't do really any damage to.
And first, I forgot to say, you guys did a fabulous job at getting it cleaned up and nicened up and prettied up. It is so much appreciated. And I think the work that was done on Saturday actually truly brings up the phrase community.
Right.
I wasn't able to be there, but I did come by as they were finishing up because I was gone all day. And I think Sandy was over there for a little bit and stuff. So, but
Not
yeah.
that whole row. Anyway, so we'll focus on that
Mm-hmm.
25 by 50, and maybe next year we can make it look like it's a 5-year garden versus being a year 2.
So,
So,
and that's a great idea. So we talked once before about having a planning session.
right.
Would you guys be interested in doing that planning session?
Well, I've heard some feedback that some people don't feel comfortable doing it in a private setting, but actually keeping it public, so. we still-
Well, I mean, it can be done here where anyone could come,
Right,
but I'm saying not do it in a council meeting.
right, right.
I mean, and it could be done with a table, a round table type situation. It,
Can't guarantee all
it doesn't have to, I mean, a planning session is not necessarily
Right.
a closed door meeting. A planning session is exactly what it is. It's a planning session. Because I thought a lot about the garden, and I actually said to Sandy, I thought, the fencing, maybe we even thought, because I said, well, maybe we put a wood border around, and then put the fencing on the inside. That might make it easier for some of the weed control and stuff like that too. So that, I'm just saying an actual planning.
Right, right.
So, because I really would like to see us do that, because we've talked about it here, and it's kind of hard to talk it because this is technically truly business meetings. It's a whole lot easier to do it in a planning session. And we could set up in here with a couple, or we could do it even at the community center itself. In the smaller.
Planning session to get approved for things.
No, not necessarily that. I'm just saying I would like for it to coincide with it, because for long term, I think we all have to make sure everybody's ideas are in line and going forward for it to be successful as it can be. Not just successful, but to thrive.
And I think to thrive, what's really gonna make it thrive is the community having a choice of what vegetables they wanna plant. I know that's a concern. I'm throwing that out there. It is a concern with some of the community garden members. They wanna be able to plant potatoes if they want to and not be limited. I think with the fence, with the barrier, we can maintain it easier and we can keep that in that limits.
So I have no clue what this fence looks like.
It's
I-
just, the 4-foot welded.
Ron, do you?
2-inch.
Okay.
Regular, what I used to call field fence. It'd be in a cattle
Okay.
lot.
Not,
It's 2 inches
Okay.
wide, it's a 2-inch
Okay.
wide fencing.
I needed to hear, what he said makes sense to me. I know what what it is
If I'm not
now.
mistaken, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Woven wire fencing, that's what I
yeah.
call it.
yeah.
Okay,
Like, yeah,
Right.
So how does it-
I think is the
yeah,
frame
I think so, yeah.
How does it attach to those posts? I mean, does it,
wired.
so you just The wire
They're
attached
wired.
to the post.
Kind of like, I mean, you could even use, I have some for you. Some of the wiring that you use on like a regular chain link fence, you can use that even if you want.
Well, we would do a stronger wire, because I don't want to keep fixing it.
Well,
Like
I have
the
some
little
commercial
cheap
wire.
fixing we have.
I have some commercial wire for you. I'll have to, well, I won't get it till next week because I left it at work.
Right on.
But I have some commercial ties.
They make special fasteners just for that.
Yeah, okay.
You can buy.
Yeah, that's what this was. It was just too small for the post I bought.
So where the gate entrances, what are you gonna do right there?
Well, I'm not sure I can make a gate out of the extra, feet that I have with the welded wire. We've got, ideas running. So as far as where the cattle fencing is, I'm not really sure, but we also want to keep it inviting too. Not say, hey, you can't go in there, but also keep the animals out. So we're working on the entrance. But right now, the deer are eating produce. They're stomping all over it and eating them tomatoes, so we would just like to get that fence up and the permit approved as soon as possible. And that way we could start working on winter, and then I'll just.
Okay. Well, does anybody have any questions or concerns about that?
Not now.
Me either. I think,
Is that good?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, so, what would be the next step on the fencing since?
Just getting with Michael.
Okay,
Am I correct?
is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, awesome,
Not hard.
all right.
All right, thank you. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
You want me to pay you now? Okay.
No. Just come back and see him.
We're just trying to get the ball rolling.
All right. All right, then we're going to move on down to the town attorney.
Okay, a couple things before we talk about the employee handbook. You'll recall at the last meeting, there was a proposal to change the part-time deputy marshal pay, and I noted that would require an amendment to the salary ordinance, so I have that here. This is ordinance number 2023-09, which is the 2023 salary ordinance amended. The only change here is down at part-time deputy marshal, which is now $24.96. Which is consistent with what was talked about last time.
Okay, any questions, concerns, thoughts on this?
That was raised from what?
It was 20, I
It's
believe.
20.
Yeah,
20.
Mhm. But we no longer just have we changed the part-time deputy marshal program for anybody that's interested as to why we're changing this. We changed the program from, and everyone that is in it now will have the academy. Correct. So the training is a lot more.
Right.
So,
And that deserves higher pay
absolutely.
because they have the training. Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
absolutely.
Entertain motions to accept the Town of Chandler ordinance number 2023-09, an amended 2023 salary ordinance with the only amendment being the part-time deputy marshal from 20 to 24.96.
Make that motion?
Second,
Kim,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Tanya,
Yes.
Ron,
yes. Now, do we have to
Okay.
do anything for passing in one reading?
This is actually,
Amen-
it is in the ordinance.
Amended?
Yeah, it's amending it.
Yes.
Thank you, Ron, for addressing that. I think you guys might go ahead and, if you want to do it now, suspend the rules, and then you can get it done.
Okay.
That'll take a unanimous vote, if you want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going at this backward. But at this point in time, I'd like to entertain motions to suspend the rules and accept that 2023 salary ordinance that has been amended, 2023-09, on one reading.
So moved.
Second.
Going backwards, but
Kim,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Tanya,
yes,
Ron.
Yes.
I read that as a resolution.
4-0.
I didn't think about it.
No, that's a good question. Here, I'm going to pass this down. That's for each of you to sign.
When I read that in my head, it went through as a resolution, which doesn't require that.
Okay, the second thing I have for you guys is a resolution. This is Resolution 2023-02. This, by the way, all of this I circulated, so I know this isn't on the agenda, but you had circulated this on Friday. And we talked about both of these at the last meeting as well. We will later this year, early next year, issue, well, pending your approval anyway, some utility bonds for some of the larger waterworks programs. Didn't want to issue those bonds now, but want to go ahead and start doing some of those projects and then reimburse the funds that are being used for those projects from the bonds that will be issued later on. This resolution allows you to do that, to reimburse yourself. You know, I think we walked through, and I know Rob and Tyler can talk about the particulars of the of these projects, but there are several that are in play here. Oh, sorry, I should have started passing this down. But that's what this does. This allows for reimbursement from the bonds of up to $16,500,000. I'm not sure that that'll be the exact number, but we want to, you know, cover our butts, so to speak, so that way we can do that as needed.
And this basically allows us to keep moving forward with no slowdown on
Right.
the project because of the bonds not
Right.
already going.
Yeah.
So. Without draining all of our on-hand funds that we have set aside for other projects.
You know, what started actually is, as I think I've said in the email to everybody, is the telephone rural project in the county. We've actually got them to push it back. They were trying to get started now. We don't have the 1.7 it takes to construct that at this time. So that's why the band conversation came up. So we'll have the money, we're hoping by February, March, then we'll bid out that time. That's the relocation project for that. With that coming up, we realized the other ones were coming up in the next 2 or 3 years, and it was time now to start planning for all that. So let's keep moving forward with our CIP, our capital improvement projects. Main one being the planned water tower for the middle distribution area we have. We've had some issues with. We actually had meetings on that today. We've got some other new ideas. I think we can be better for us in the long run. But bottom line is what that addresses is, he says the 60 million is a number that we figure is a worst case scenario. We think of a lot less than that, but we definitely get off the ground with the band, which will cover the telephone road and the preliminary engineering for the tower itself, and then when we get the bond, we'll pay it back.
Okay, any questions or concerns on this resolution? Okay, then I'd like to entertain motions to accept Town of Chandler Resolution number 2023-02, resolution recognizing the reasonable expectation of the reimbursement of capital expenditures in connection with the waterworks improvements made prior to the issuance of future tax exempt bonds.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Kim,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Tanya,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Okay, and the signature pages for that is being passed down, and then the final, well, next thing I guess is the employee handbook, and I circulated this draft earlier, given the fact that there was a lot of discussion and maybe some hints of delaying approving this till the next meeting. I didn't kill trees and print out 8,060 page documents, but you know, this is what it is now, what I had circulated, so to the extent you guys want to see changes, certainly let me know what those are, and we're happy to do that. Aaron, you can see this copy if you want,
Okay.
but I like I said, I just printed out one. I probably should have printed out more, but I didn't want to kill
To be honest,
trees.
I haven't had a chance to get all the way through it.
Well, I just looked at the red line.
Yeah, I looked
Yeah,
at
the
the
red line,
line.
but I haven't read everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
And obviously the red line shows what's changing from the
Right.
current one.
right,
Right.
so, oh, sorry.
No, you're right.
So if you guys are okay with that, I'd like to wait for one more for us to go over this, everyone, and then to have all council members here, hopefully. to be able
Table it to the
address
next
it.
meeting.
Yep, table this to the next meeting, if
I
that's okay
agree.
with you, Josh.
Okay, that's fine. And then the final thing for me is I just want to point out, we have, you know, we're constantly growing in a good way. I've got a associate here, Chandler Lacey, in the audience. Chandler, if you want to raise your hand. He has a strong interest in municipal law, so he'll probably be helping us out with stuff. So I wanted you guys to see him, meet him, and it's a nice coincidence that his first name is Chandler.
Yeah, it is.
So anyway, that's it for me.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, we're gonna move down to departments. Chief of Police.
I don't really have anything. We are starting to help with the schools in the morning, so Washington Street, we're getting that clear in about 5 to 6 minutes once they start dropping kids off.
So that's working a whole lot better.
So it's working with our involvement a little bit. I mean, the county resource officer finally got an ear over there that will listen, so yeah, so it's still a little congested in the morning, so if you can avoid that area, avoid it, but we're getting them in and out pretty quick.
I don't know when that's not been a mess. My oldest will be 30.
This is the best
And it was
I've
a
seen
mess
in
then.
about 30 years, so
Yeah, well,
we're,
that's good to hear.
so far, so good.
Good to hear. Okay, and the fire department, and I didn't think that they had anything for us. I didn't see anything. No, I'm not aware of anything. Then we'll move to Director of Public Services, Rob and Tyler.
First item is, I told them on the water, as we say with water, we've started our next process for the capital improvement projects we need to get done that are listed in our 10-year plan that we passed earlier this year, I believe. Again, this telephone road has kind of moved it a little faster than we wanted to, but again, to try to keep up with what we're seeing in the growth area there in the midsection stuff. Again, it's the best way to do it. Again, the meetings that Scott Miller and Josh, myself and Tyler have had, and with our engineers, we think this is the best way to approach that. On the sewer side, if you remember, a couple years back, we built a new lift station, General Road Station, which is in full operation, which was going to split one of our largest used basins called the Bell Road Basin. That station's been in since the 70s, been upgraded one time. And with that, like I say, we knew the growth, and that was getting, capacity has been taken out of that. So we're doing Jenner, that's cut that capacity about half, and now we've started the maintenance we want to do on that area where in the past we did not, because it was always so full. The guys have been doing a lot of video work, running a lot of lines, a lot of issues, and most of those we were able to address, get cleaned up, finding some I&I, things like that. As I mentioned, one of the areas that they found was what we call the Windsor Drive replacement project. That line is actually such a mess and so full of roots and so poorly constructed. The design they did at that time, which was acceptable in the 70s probably, is not acceptable now. Manholes are not placed right, but there is the logistics issues. There's 24 lots roughly that this service line, this line of about 1,500 feet services, manholes are buried up underneath things, fences are out of whack. It's going to take a lot of coordination with our engineers, and probably Josh get involved, some letters and things, a lot of survey work. So what I have, because it's so complicated, we had to have our engineers involved. Send a copy of the contract for review. It's our typical contract with BLN. We're calling it the Windsor Drive Sewer Replacement Project. Of that, it covers okay, it covers the survey, sewer main design, landowner coordination, and bid phase, which is a total of not to exceed $107,700 for what we call soft costs for y'all's consideration and signing if you agree.
Okay, any thoughts on this? Okay, entertain motions to accept the contract for engineering services with BLN for the Windsor Road project.
So moved.
Second.
Kim,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Tanya,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
One's heavy. Okay.
Thank you all, guys. Like I say, we're trying to do a lot of the work ourselves. We've got some other little point repairs here and there. We're doing some slip lining that'll take care of that. Again, the coordination and dealing with the survey was going to be the biggest issue with this. We've got actually sheds laying over top of the sewer line and things, but it's going to be a mess. This is an older area, so we kind of expect that from time to time. So we'll move forward with that. Another item on my packet was Again, they are planning a groundbreaking ceremony for the 24-inch transmission main. I did have the date wrong in my packet. They are shooting for October 5th, not the 2nd. 5th is on a Thursday. Larry and his group are doing all the plans and everything. Our people will be assisting with parking and setup and things like that. With that, Tyler and I got together and discussed what we want to do, because we're also going to kind of treat this as an open house. We only did our original plant design, our well field work, and so this is kind of the accumulation of all that. So we thought it'd be a nice time to do an open house and everything. So with that, we want to make sure everything's really nice down there. We have ordered matching shirts for all the guys for the on site and everything. Like I say, we're going to be using the new logo flag that Tyler designed for the utility. We're going to have that on site. Like I say, just really just have a nice open house for everything we've done down there. There's going to be a lot of people invited, state officials, county officials, people we've worked with through that. Of course, we'll want you all there. And like I say, as Larry gets more detail and stuff, one of the things that came up in discussion is, would you all be interested in a town shirt designating you all when you're there? Because I would assume you will probably have to speak. Unless you don't show up and somebody else has to speak.
October
It's October the 5th.
5th, okay.
It's a Thursday.
Oh, Thursdays are great.
We can do that.
Yeah,
So anyway, Larry being more contact, the issue is the shirt
Okay.
issue. If you want to think about it, whatever, Tyler's handling all that. Again, a nice shirt with our logo and stuff on it for the guys, a dress shirt for Tyler and I. Again, that'd be what we hope you guys, if that's what you want.
yeah, I think it would be,
Yeah.
we've never done that,
No?
so that would be nice.
Well, he'll shoot you an email
Okay.
tomorrow, and you'll get the sizes and stuff, and he'll handle that, then get those ordered up.
Okay,
Okay.
All right. The other item I forgot to mention on this Windsor, we're gonna probably split some of the financing out of some of our on-hand funds. I may need to use some system developmental charge funds, which is STC money we collect. For me to be able to do that, though, I need approval from the council, because that is a capital improvement. And to use that money, I have to have that approval. I don't have an amount yet, but obviously we use all our on-hand money first before we have to get into that, and we'll just have to keep you abreast of how much that'll be. We'll know more after the survey's done and our actual design. We'll kind of know more what that cost may be, but to keep things moving, so we'll have the ability to do that. I really need council approval for you all to allow us to use that
okay,
money.
so do you have an amount you want us to
I
approve?
don't have an amount at this time, just that we would have the ability to use
Do
that.
you know
We'll
about-
get you that as soon as possible. I have no idea on the design or anything.
How much is in the capital improvement right now?
I was gonna get that, actually, I think it's 296, for some reason that pops in my head, 324, there's one of those numbers in there, it's right at 300,000. Again, we would only use a portion, I would not be using all of it, just whatever's left over, we got some other funds we're kind of digging through right now. I won't have it, we can wait if you want, but I'm saying we'll need that approval, and I was just trying to keep things moving forward, but if you want us to wait.
Just wait till we get a
But
hard
we'd
number.
like to have
Yeah.
probably just at least,
Just
you
the
know, at
ballpark.
least
Just
a
the
ballpark
ballpark,
idea,
yeah.
some sort, you know, like
As soon as I get
up to
Brian-
$50,000 or, you know,
Okay,
that
I
sort
have
of
no
thing.
problem with that, so, I'll get Brian on that a little quicker, but, like I said, they'll start the survey work, that's gonna be the biggest thing, because that sets the tone for
Right.
this whole thing, so, got that, sign at that, anything, any questions, that's all I have.
Nope, I don't. Do you guys
I
have
don't,
any?
I don't have any.
All right. Then we'll move on down. Utility administrator.
I think it was in Rob's message too about the sewer financials. He mentioned it just now, but it was also in my email. Scott was asking if you guys are wanting to have any kind of meeting. I don't think we usually have them come down for that, so we're not really having any.
No,
issues
because
with it
we're,
right
I
now.
mean,
But just wanted to make sure that you're not
The
wanting them to
the
go
sewer
over
numbers
with
were
you.
healthy
Yep.
and without need of any sort of adjustment. Don't see a reason to
Yeah, I don't
have
see
them,
a reason really.
you know.
The other thing is we have the new water rates, they were approved last week, we got those ready for building later this week. It's not a lot, but, you know, it's the second time in a row now we've lowered the water rates though, so I
Right.
think that's
That
kind of
is a
good. for
significant
today's day and
thing,
age, that
yes.
We're lowering rates instead of bringing them up.
Needing to.
Yep. And then I have a bunch of stuff in parks, so I went to parks.
All right. Then we can move to environmental manager.
Okay. Just wanted to share some thoughts with regards to the approximately 10 acres over just west of Indian June Cove, where also we have the Green Valley Retention Area. That's kind of been a discussion, and Brian, I want to try to tap onto the system here. That's kind of been a discussion in recent meetings, and so just want to bring to you some ideas, some things that we've been working on, so you can maybe be up to speed, because Derek Potts is a landscape designer who has volunteered to help us with a master plan in that particular area, and he is doing this free of charge, and we're trying to give him some of our ideas to put into that master plan. This kind of all started from Warwick County Soil and Water Conservation District. I was reaching out to Holly McCutcheon with regards to some of the work that I need to do for public involvement with IDEM, some of the projects that we need to do in our town. And she suggested this project, actually. She's been very involved with helping us get a start on that. So Holly was here. We met with Derek a couple of times. And in that particular area, the ideas that were kind of floating around is that, first off, we would have some parking that would be a need, and that would be something that would be off of Iowa Street, and also we can access it off of North Idaho, and develop a parking area in that for people that obviously have to have. And then one of the major ideas is to put like an asphalt ADA compliant path that would go around the acreage that would primarily be there for the purpose of people who just want to walk and just maybe rack up some miles. So it'd be approximately a third of a mile around that area. And then developed in the middle of all this would be some, well, these native flowers. And on the screen, there's some of those flowers. There's no, I apologize, the pictures are not all that maybe so great. But Misty has been really involved in helping us, and I'm just, I don't have a green thumb, I'm not into all this gardening stuff. But I was impressed because we went over to Freedman Park to get some ideas. And so these pictures that I'm sharing are from Freedman Park. And Joe, I think, is their maintenance person. He was very helpful, and he's volunteered to help us along the way. So we've got some people that are there that we can reach out to and give us some instruction. So there would be these native flowers that would be planted. Among the flowers would be these mowed paths. Again, we'd have this asphalt path around for, you know, some really good walking. And then in the middle, the native flowers, we have some mowed trails. That's a picture from Freedman Park, these mowed walking paths. And also among the walking paths, you see this kind of a shaded area there with a bench. We're kind of going for some serenity that people could walk through there and just have a casual, nice time. Here's another little snapshot from Freedman Park. I think those are black locust trees that they've been recommended as trees that grow fast and provide some shading, but they're just not overwhelming. So there's some, I think, great ideas that we can gather from Freedman Park and put this together. As you walk through this nature trail, there would also be the necessity to put some bridges over the existing drainage ditches. And we discussed putting some like small covered bridges over those areas. It sounds exciting to me to kind of think about this nature park. And we understand it would take time, and it would happen in phases, and we'd have to start maybe even as early as this fall, because there's some grant money available for this pollination, lots of grants that are available. And so we could begin the plowing, the planning of, you know, the master plan, putting it in place, and then continue to look for more grant money as we go along. But one of the other areas that we kind of picked out, and I apologize if we don't have a drawing for you tonight, but there's an area that we would call like a nature overlook, where you can see over the pollinated area and these trails. And in this nature overlook, perhaps maybe being creative with some areas for children that it would have signage as to identifying the flowers and what's out there, so that even young folk could get excited about that. And we've got an area picked out for that. That's all kind of the ingredients that we've given to Derek to put into this master plan. So that's kind of part of it.
About the sunflower.
Sunflowers, sunflower area. And also in this area, if they wanted to add an area for a community garden spot, there could be that also in that particular area. So those are the ingredients that we're kind of giving to Derek to put together this master plan, and hopefully maybe by the latter part of September we could share this with you. And again, if we could, I understand even the fall and the like January, February months are good months to begin this work. And so if we could move along with that, I guess just letting you know what's happening behind the scenes and looking forward to your approval of this area. We're now paying to be mowed, and instead of paying to be mowed, our goal would be that in 4 or 5 years, it'll take time, but it could be a low maintenance area. These flowers could take over the areas where we're mowing right now, and actually, again, in 4 or 5 years, look for lower dollars actually that would be needed to maintain this area. And I think that there'll be lots of people getting
Actually make it utilized. That's the bigger thing, is make it utilized, because right now it's just a mow spot.
Right.
Exactly, exactly.
The utilization of it is bigger for me than,
I think it's just a total win-win, and you could go on and on about the advantages of it.
yeah, you could.
I will say, I went out and walked along the area after Michael told me about it, because I was like, I don't know about this. And it's actually perfect for this walking trail.
I actually, was
Yeah,
this
it has like
Saturday?
the, you know, and of course I was concerned about the area that we need to keep people out of for the retention area. But I think we could block it off with using
Well, the good thing
actual
is that's a dry
flowers.
basin unless it's actually
Yes.
being utilized. So that's not as
Right,
obtuse.
but yeah, I'm really excited about it now, especially with meeting with him and Joe from Freeman Park, and I think.
And I was actually at Friedman. I wasn't out there, but I was at Friedman on Saturday and happened to look at some of it because I knew that's what, I kind of thought that's what you were looking at. And then I noticed the other thing they have is the big stones that they have set up for benches. They're just rocks. They're just flat rocks,
He
and
said those are the most popular seeds anytime
and
they
they
have
were. I
any.
mean, that's where I
Those are
chose
the-
to actually sit because you could
And
actually
those
see a
trees
whole
there
lot.
were honey locust trees, and he said he would recommend those because they grow so fast.
Yeah, they were just enough, but they weren't so much that it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
And everything. They were not. It was nice. So I love this idea.
Mhm.
You know, because we've battered around the idea of sunflowers in that field, of something or another in that field, to make it more usable. But to make it usable and to make it accessible for folks to be able to enjoy it is a win-win.
And I will say, while I was over walking that property, there were 2 people that cut through, that walked through there. And it was, you know, you're not supposed to be trespassing, but, I was kind of shocked by that. I was like, well, people are already doing this anyway, so.
Yeah, I like to see us keep moving forward. So what do we need to do now? Just let you keep moving forward?
Let us keep moving forward and hopefully bring that master plan to the last meeting in September. I'm hoping that we have something to look
Does anyone have any issues with moving forward?
Nope.
I didn't think
Sounds
so.
like
I think it's a
a
great
So
idea.
I just wanted to check and make
He
sure.
actually lives here, and he was wanting
Right.
to volunteer and do this work and, you know, work
This is
on,
great.
designing this, and it's kind of a win-win.
Okay.
Yep.
So, that's all, sounds all good to me.
Just needing your blessing to continue moving
Yep.
forward.
Just keep moving forward.
Yeah, we'll report to you as we have information.
So, anything else?
I'll leave it at that.
Okay. So then, and I kind of forgot to bring this up with when Kirk's turn, so this is kind of both of you guys. 202 North Kentucky. Kirk brought me some pictures from 202 North Kentucky. And this is some of the cleanup projects, and this is more just the house. I guess, well, maybe a little bit that. I'm curious to see curious to know what the trash level is. Do we know, huh?
The front yard didn't look bad this week, yesterday, today.
Okay,
But a lot of the vehicles were blocking most of the yard, so. The corner I could see was,
I did drive by there this week and I have a hard time telling what's,
What,
but
what's trash and what's not?
I guess,
last,
or what's been cleaned up, I guess.
Okay,
last week, we kind of moved, the sewer issue to the front burner, and I don't know what Rob might have to speak about, but,
This is the before.
he did kind of an
the
emergency
after.
fix on the open sewer that was there. And that is, pretty important right now. I'm wanting to take the information and visit with, Ms. Lockyer
This.
and help her to understand the urgency of
That
fixing
wood?
this sewer. It's more than just capping it off. And I
as
guess
we
I-
probably
Was it
figured.
in this picture?
I would let
yeah,
Rob
it's
speak to
supposed to be.
that, or Tyler.
That's
about
before and there's
that.
after they
But
cleaned it up.
As far as what I'm doing, I'm gathering information to take to Ms. Lockyer, since she's actually on the property card and the one who will need to get involved to make the repair happen. And maybe Rob can speak to the repair that needs to be made, or Tyler.
We went over and looked at it, we,
Had a
heard the size,
conversation.
because that was our confusion, because most, sewer laterals are only 4 or 6 inch lines, and Michael reported as 12, and something was wrong, so evidently at some point in the past, someone had dug down there on top of the sewer line and did whatever, but literally just busted the top of the pipe out, and instead of trying to fix that, literally just took a scrap piece of pipe and stuck over top of it. So it was wide open, I learned it right behind the place set, and we were very concerned that 12-inch small kid. So that's why we went ahead and got a cap that was actually, we couldn't find that size, actually DMV that we worked with a lot, had one, and actually gave it to us, said no need for that mistake. So, Alan did put that on, it's secure, it probably cannot be taken off, the problem is they've actually got a leak in the sewer line, and I'm sure it's old clay, and if it's bad, at some point in time they try to fix it, it's probably gonna get worse. But at least for now, the hole is not open, the sewer gas coming out, and nobody can get into it, so. But it is something that will need to be addressed at some point in time, but until there's access to that front yard, we can't even get in there to try to fix it for them if we can have to at some point in time.
So at the very least, it needs to be brought to their attention that this is gonna have to be done sooner rather than later.
It
I mean,
really
it's-
does need to be addressed.
So is the sewer leaking on their side, Rob, or?
Well, it was broke evidently, or maybe it was plugged, and they needed access as a cleanhouse, what we're assuming. So they busted the pipe, got the plug, so it's draining, but again, we've got this shallow opening going into an open sewer. And again, the size pipe they use is not the correct size, the other is just stuck over the top of it. And they could let groundwater into it, but it's fairly still now, but again, clay pipe doesn't get better, it gets worse, it's going to get worse. The flooding around is going to pump in, if they had a trouble with the sewer line itself, probably, roots, I'd say, in the system, it's going to plug up again. And right now it is flowing, but, it's something that'll have to be fixed. But like I said, in some cases, we could give them their, 10 or 30 day, depending on the situation, go in there and fix it. Right now, we can get a piece of equipment in there to dig out enough pipe to make any kind of repair.
So we're pretty sure it's not contaminating the ground around it.
Not at this time, no.
Okay, that's even worse. So you say it's flowing, but would you consider that a working, safe sewer?
No.
So is
Safe
that
for
something-
what it was, but no, it is not passing code. That's
Okay.
what it is not passing.
So is it something that we should at some point in time consider saying, hey,
There is the actual ordinance that addresses that every home is to have a clean out within 5 feet of the foundation, and it's supposed to be, sealed and capped and all that, and it's totally not so. So it is a.
as far as the clean out, it's not up to code with the clean out, and a lot of homes probably aren't up to the code with the clean out because a lot of them didn't have clean outs in the past.
If
But
this was
it's-
a normal yard that we had full access to, we would give it to the homeowner, explain to what needs to be done. Obviously, probably fix it. If not, then we would give them a notice. I do think there's an emergency one we can use, but typically give them 30 days to repair. At that point in time, you go in and we make those repairs, and then we charge it back to the homeowner drilling. Like I say, right now, we couldn't even get anything in there because there's no storm to work. Even using one of our minis, we probably could get in there. That was quartered out. Again, I've not been on site, but I think you've been on site. So,
He's probably right.
yeah, I heard there's a swing set right out front. Again, our service kids playing a swing set.
Well, did the swing set got removed, or the forts got removed?
Ford,
Ford got
Next swing set.
Sorry.
there is still a metal sling within 3 feet of that, but that's movable. I think that we could get, equipment in there. We had equipment in that yard when we took out the Ford, and, we could make that happen. I think it would be good to know how the county feels with regards to that sewer. If indeed we serve notice 30 days, you've got to fix this, after 30 days, if not, we fix it. Do we want, I guess that's the question, do we want to go in and fix that?
So there is like a storage unit or something on the side of the house. Is that gonna be in the way of anything?
No.
It's in the front yard. It comes out the front and actually
Okay.
comes out into the street for you.
Okay.
There are some things that could just be pushed out of the way to get access to that with a small piece of equipment, I think.
Yeah, and we were just taking a time at this time that we knew that we were kind of told not to get on the property, so.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want you guys to get hurt,
Right.
was my thoughts, like,
My intention was to visit with Ms. Lockhart here and just say, hey, this is our need, and show her the pictures, describe it to her, give her 30 days to fix it. If there's no action, then we should possibly take the action that's been recommended by Rob. Go ahead and take care of that.
I mean, if that's what we would normally do, that's what we should do.
I mean, that's fine. We just,
Yeah.
they're telling us to do that.
I mean, if that's what
Drafted tomorrow and get out to it.
That's our normal standards, even though we can't not. Because if you let one go, then the next thing you know, you have green acres, or whatever it's called
Right.
over here.
I agree.
I don't, you know what I'm talking
I know
about.
what you're talking about.
Green acres. Sorry, not green acres.
So that's to talk to Ms. Lock here and give her 30 days, and if no action, we'll take care of it.
So we'll get the letter together, the whole works, have a conversation with Terry and move from there.
Quick.
Somebody home at that place during the day usually.
So the homeowner does not live there. Her daughter and her granddaughter does.
Or where's the homeowner?
Right over.
Michael will get with you. You guys can get
Yeah, I've
together
got
on
the
that.
address. I've
Well,
got
my thought is we get the letter drafted tomorrow, let's handle it. That way it just saves us a lot of time. Saves us,
We're just gonna have some conversation with her about it as well.
we'll coordinate that.
Okay, sound good?
We don't know.
Quick
Right.
question for Rob or Michael. Is that something, it would be dug out and then the pipe be laying in there? Can that be inspected before, if they decide to do it on their own? Can that be inspected before it's covered up?
The ordinance says it has to be inspected.
Has to be inspected.
Has to be
Okay,
inspected.
make sure you stress that fact. Like, don't cover that up till someone looks at it, you know?
We've talked about that if they would choose to actually try to do that, it does have to be inspected. And it's-
Yeah.
We would probably have somebody on site full time.
Okay, great.
Make sure.
I don't.
Yeah, excellent idea.
Worries about anybody in that house trying to do it.
Okay.
Either. I mean, her son might try to help,
Right, yeah.
you know, but not the folks living there. I don't think would probably have the ability to do it.
Well, like I say, with my, Tim and I'll be letter draft tomorrow, when I get to that, and do it like it in his hands, it can just hand deliver, that starts the process so much faster, still wait for a certified letter to come back and all that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, clerk treasurer.
I don't have anything.
Okay, now we'll move to parks and recreation.
I sent you guys a message earlier this afternoon, actually, late this evening, about, a Boonville youth football team wanting to practice inside the community center. I don't think I explained it well.
I don't think I read it right.
Yeah.
I didn't
And
either.
it was, they're asking to use it for free, saying that they will not use cleats, it will not, I feel the answers come back a little too fast, and I was talking to Kim about it, so I think her for pointing out a little bit more of that. So he was asking if he couldn't do it tonight, then could he use it Thursday night, because it's just because of the weather. So I wanna make sure I get an answer for you guys on that tonight.
I don't think that's the place to do it. I think that maybe,
I thought they were
church
gonna use
with
the
the gym.
field. I mean, when I first read it, I just thought they wanted to use one of the fields to
Yeah.
practice, but then
I didn't
coming
read it
back,
as
I
they were-
realized it was
Can I
because of the
make a
heat.
suggestion and say no? That's what I almost answered back as today. I was like, oh, wait a minute, I don't think I explained this enough.
I didn't read it as they were physically practicing. I thought they were just meeting there to converse or something. I don't, not physical.
So, okay, I
Yeah.
just wanted to get you on that. Within 5 minutes of that phone call, we also got one from a gentleman that says, in the past, he's had a haunted trail of Warwick County. He usually uses Scales Lake for that, and it's like a haunted trails type for profit. I mean, he's wanting to charge people to go in this. And he's asking if he could rent the community center and use the woods behind it.
No.
And I said,
I mean,
well,
unless someone else feels differently, the bike park has been doing a lot of work back there and everything.
yeah,
And that's not a for-profit thing. If there was a kids group of something that maybe
Yes.
wanted to do something that might be different.
I
not
just
for
thought I
profit.
would give you the option if
Fair
you want
enough.
to rent it out to them, but, okay, good. That sounds like a nightmare to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I did see on Facebook this morning, and I kept thinking over the weekend, I needed to get with Brad and see where they're at with completing the new addition of the bike park. As of this morning, he posted that they're planning on having it done by the end of this week, so, I need to get with him because we were talking about doing something, having a grand opening type little thing over there, so I'll
And
get with
I-
Brad and check on that a little bit,
Think that they're actually going to be at National Night Out as well.
yeah.
Because they had some interest in being there at National Night Out.
And now, since it's getting so close to that, we might just wait and do it with that, so, okay.
And then now that you're bringing up that, there's someone from that group, Brad, is supposed to be getting with the garage to come down and take a look at the bike ramp. They were actually thinking that it might be something that they could modify to use, not necessarily here, but at shows like where they get communities, bring it in. He's gonna look at it and see what he could do with it. He had a few different ideas, is what he said. That he could use it, he didn't know, he was gonna look at it. And he didn't know if there was something that maybe they could use here or use elsewhere. So we'll go from there to see what they come back with.
One quick note about the Christmas tree lighting. We have secured Chandler School Choir
Oh,
to sing. So, Jeannie's started working on stuff like that for that, so we'll get going on that. I did send you that estimate for the tree. I don't think anyone's gonna.
That's-
Do you guys have any questions on
No.
that? I mean,
No.
if they're recommending taking it down, we just need to do it, correct?
Yeah.
And then, one last announcement was food trucks canceled this week.
Okay,
It is too
Too
hot
hot.
outside.
fair enough,
Last time it was this hot, they were passing out inside the booths.
fair enough.
I can believe
So
that.
I gotta post that yet.
Okay, back to the Christmas, our new stuff, have we heard anything about it coming in?
I haven't heard an update, I can contact him.
Okay, and then secondly, I know Sandy's working on a backdrop for us, looking for 2 people to take pictures this year. And 2 of those people need not be me, as one. I will provide equipment for at least one of them, but, looking for 2 people to take pictures. That was exhausting.
Jeannie and I were working on a list of everything last week. I said we'd get it out by the end of this week, but I'm gonna be gone some this week to that conference, so it might be next week before I get it out to you guys, but I'll definitely add that on there because I have not put that on there yet.
Please do.
But we need to get our thoughts together on it and money together. I have several questions for you guys, so
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
So what about the electric for the poles?
I left him a voicemail the other day. Was that Friday we talked about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he didn't
For
call
some reason,
back.
I got an invoice today from someone else, so I don't think the invoice is correct because I drove by the post today.
So, but did he say we couldn't use any of the poles? I mean, is that what you told me, or did I
Don't
understand?
start that out loud.
Okay.
it's a different process of getting the electric on the poles than what it has been in the past.
Okay.
That's why we'll go with
They're
this.
wanting to do it themselves, but we have to have a contract, but we're waiting on the contract. And I'm telling them we need that contract now. They're going with it. So,
Okay,
I think that's it.
all right. Thank you very much. All right. Any new business? Okay, old business. All right, I think we actually discussed quite a bit of the old business on that. Then we're gonna move down to presentation of claims. Claims today are $387,474.87. Any questions, concerns, or changes to be made?
No.
Okay, then I'd like to entertain motions to accept claims as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Kim,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Tanya,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Okay, then at this point in time, I'd like to entertain motions to recess.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for coming. Have a nice evening.
Okay.
Guess where I'm going?
Where are you
I'm
going?
going to go to the